Welcome to the Speedway Chat Show hosted by Jerry Sims and Wilbur Hancock. We would like to say a massive thank you to all our partners that make the show possible. Make sure you like, comment, and share our videos. It helps get Speedway in front of more people. It's really easy to find our podcast. Just say, "Hey Alexa, play Speedway Chat Show podcast." Enjoy, buckle up, and get ready for an awesome ride.
Hey guys, it's Wednesday afternoon and we have another Speedway Chat Show. How are you, Wilbur? You all good?
I am doing great, Jez. How are you?
Pretty good. I've had a busy week and then
it's only Wednesday. It's only Wednesday.
Yeah. And then, well, I had some stuff happening for next week that's just got postponed for a month. So I'm about next week, not got very much on. So I decided earlier to go out on my bike. I've been out on my bike all day.
Ooh,
so,
lucky
pretty good. Yeah. So before we go any further, I want to say a massive thank you to SP2A Speedway for all of his help with Speedway Chat Show and advertising, but also all of the guys that are in the beginning of the video. There's Ash Tech, Andy Smith, Grant Henderson, Ren Truck, and GM Engines, who have all helped us towards building this bike for the young lads. If you could comment in the comments any question you have this evening from Sir Olsen, that would be amazing. Let us know where you're watching from, and should we crack on?
I think so.
Okay, cool. Give him the introduction he deserves, Wilbur.
Well, I mean, he has just now taken over Vojens Speedway from his father, Ole Olsen. He's the legend himself, Mr. Jacob Olsen.
Hey, thank you very much.
How are you? Good?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be on board. Thanks, guys.
Good. So,
thank you.
You've just taken over Vojens. What's
well, actually, just, you know, it feels like I've been there for a long time now. But yeah, we took over in 2019 and was lucky, you know, to have a good run through the first year with a European Championship and also a Grand Prix event. Unfortunately, last year, you know, was a bit of a crash for us. You know, we didn't have a Grand Prix. We managed to have the Danish Championship, but without any crowd. So, but we're still pushing. You know, we're still alive, and there's a bit of light out there now. So we hope we can get back to normal during this season.
For sure. How hard did you use last year more as a learning experience for the whole, you know, Vojens Speedway Center? I mean, did you try to just build up on that, use it more as a regroup year?
Well, I think, you know, it was when you have success from the first beginning, you know, like in 2019, it was there's a lot of history in Vojens, and with coming back into it and putting so much effort into it, you know, it was quite crazy the first year, and then suddenly, you know, the legs were a little bit kicked away underneath us because we started a lot of things, you know, and also I had hired this girl to be a part of the Vojens Speedway Center to make events, which was nothing to do with Speedway, you know, and I had to get rid of her because of the COVID-19. But I think, you know, we managed to get through this with all the partners and sponsors, and we sort of played the game very honest where we are at the moment. And I think that's the reason why we still are here and still pushing, you know, to make the sport grow again in Denmark.
Wow.
It's not just Denmark that needs it, though.
No, well, you're right. I mean, the whole sport needs a lot of things to be done, you know, and it's everyone's having the focus on Poland at the moment, and to be honest, you know, they're really doing a good job down there, and there's a lot of money involved in it. But I also believe that the Speedway sport global has to grow together, and I mean, we can't only allow to let it all happen in Poland. I mean, look at this young kid from the US, and we have England, and we have Sweden and Germany and a lot of other countries. We have to grow together.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah, they will never break into the Polish league if it's all just there. So, how old was you? How old was you when you started racing yourself?
Yeah, well, it was like when I was only a week old, my father was racing in England at that time, and so I'm actually grown up in England. So I was about 6 years old. Well, when I was about 3 or 4, I had a little motocross bike, Italyjet, which I was racing in the garden. Well, here you go. Well, there's a photo there. This is, I think, back in 1977, this one at Vojens. So, yeah, I must have been about 3 years old there. And so there you go.
That's
And,
a cool
well, it's a really, I actually did win that meeting. So, yeah, no, that was sort of the beginning of it, and I think I was born to be a racer, and I was also in my head, I only had one thing I wanted to be, and that was world champion. But to be honest, I think I stopped my career when I was 23, and I was up against guys like your dad, Greg, and Tony Ricketts and all them, and they were just far away, a lot better than me. And I mean, I was a tall lad at the time, and I think I was hard enough on the track, but maybe a little bit too soft off track, So I had a great time and finished my career, and yeah, I never change it.
Did you feel like you lost interest when you just couldn't find your rhythm or find your place in the racing? Did you just not have fun anymore? Or what really caused you to just say, you know what, I don't think this is fun?
Yeah, well, there's a little secret behind that. What happened and what actually did I stop? Because looking at you're going to climb through a little bit the same thing with that I did, and I'm dead sure you're gonna make it better than I did. But I think what happened to me was that, I mean, I got a contract at that time. You got a contract and you went to England, and then you're a professional speedway rider. And when I came to Coventry, I knew all the people. I knew the whole setup. I had been involved like in speedway forever at this time, and then I just think that the interest and sort of the will to get to know things and work hard for it, I maybe lost a bit of interest. And then at that stage I think it was 1995, that was actually the year when the Grand Prix series started. I was injured. I broke my wrist. So I got a commentary job for Danish TV, and I was doing the commentary there live with the Grand Prix series. And then unfortunately, during that season when I was injured, my teammate Richard Ewell, which I raced together with at Wolverhampton, had a bad crash. And, that was sort of one of the things that sort of made me realize that, okay, at the level I was now, I didn't want to sort of keep pushing. I think I didn't get afraid, but I just found out that, okay, I got to go different ways with my career, and that was sort of a help to get it stopped.
All fair points right there.
So Wilbur has a similar situation to yourself. Your dad was multiple world champion. You just said that you had a goal of being world champion. Did you ever get to a point where you were like, I just need to beat this girl?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's this question, I knew that was going to come. But
Wilbur gets stuck behind this girl all the time. I don't know if it's,
yeah,
I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know, but he seems to be coming in behind her all the time.
You little.
You know what, Wilbert, he's gonna be a cool little racer. You know, I watched him a bit, and I today I spoke to Eric Gunnarsson and to Helle, and they also said this kid's gonna be great. You know, he's got everything, and how can you be anything else without your dad? But I just want to say online here that Wilbert, you know, whenever you're ready, mate, I got a contract for you in Vojens, and you just let me. When you get sick and tired of listening to your dad and he can't give you any more, come over so I can school you a little bit and make you world champion. So that's an open offer, mate. Without talking money.
Thanks a bunch, Jacob. That really means a lot, and to hear it from legends like all three of you guys, it means a lot to me.
Well, you know, it's I've seen a lot of youngsters also with me being involved as team manager for Denmark, and you know, it's basically, if you want to make it the whole way, you got to have a lot of luck. But I mean, today Speedway is different when I was racing, you know, because you got to eat right, you got to sleep, you got to be fit, you know, you got to have all these things right. If you don't have that right, you're far away from getting to your gold. But then looking at that, you know, it's also a big balance, because when you're young, you got to make sure you enjoy and you're happy and you have a smile on your face every time you race. And I hope you promise me to do that in your career, and also be yourself. Don't sort of try and be your dad. And I can see you're not trying to do that. Not that I don't want you to be like him, but I think it's very important to be yourself and let people love the way you are. And I think that's why I would sort of try and hope for you that you can put into your long career, hopefully.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, cool. It's an exclusive, so Will going to Vojens one day.
Next year.
There we go. You said you'd go to Sweden or Denmark before coming to England.
And boom, right there.
There you go. Happy days.
Well, so I see in your team here that you actually have signed two very young riders, but I mean, have crazy, potential talent, you know, Jonas and Jesper Knudsen.
Yeah. I
both
know you
world
know
champions.
them pretty well.
Yeah, both world champions in the 250cc class. I mean, isn't that crazy? Two brothers won the 250cc world championship in the matter of what, 2 years?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they are two really, really good kids, you know, and this is what makes me happy every day, is to work with these youngsters and sort of get close to them and see how they can get a better life, you know, through the sport. And you know them very well. They're good racers. They really they in for it, you know. We've trained in the winter time here. We've had boxing training with them, and all these things, and it's really looking good. And also for me, it's important that it's local boys, and we have Mats Hansen also, and on the team. So I mean, building the whole thing up, you know, building profiles and making them learn how to speak on the microphone and on TV is a part of the game also.
Are you planning on having most of those riders in your A team in the top league in Denmark?
Yeah, well, you know, in the Danish league, we have like a category where you can have an A, B, C, and D rider, and you can only have one A rider at the time, and that we only have one A rider, which is Anders Thomsen, and then we have 3 B riders where we have Hans Andersen and Nikolai Klint, and then we have the German Kai Hulkenbeck. So we're pretty strong on the high end side, but I mean, we're probably not the strongest team on paper, but we're going to be pushing, mate, for team spirit and organized and be prepared as the best way we can. And I think that's the key to get the success.
Well, I mean, you can look at like teams in Poland as well. You look at Lejno. On paper, each individual rider hasn't been the top of the best of the best. They work together. They work great as a team. And if you put them out there on their home track in Lejno, it is probably a 90 to 10 like chance of you beating them. You know, they work so great, and they probably have spent so many laps together and ridden so many times that they know each other and they know where it's going to be, where they're going to be at certain times and stuff. And watching them is just crazy. And I think it's not important to have the best of the best riders. It's important to build a team that works together great.
Yeah, that's true. I agree so much with you because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you win a meeting, if you win it by 1 point, you still won it. And if it's the low end rider only scoring 1 point, that's the point that counts to win. So, you know, sometimes you got to look at it that way, you know. And I'm also quite lucky that we got Hans Andersen in as the captain, and for me, Hans and I have worked a lot together in the past, and he's probably the best team rider ever in Denmark. You know, he's got the experience, and he's ready to go this year. So this is good. We got him as the captain. He's sort of maybe the Danish Greg Hancock kind of thing in Denmark, I would say.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I like Hans. He's very professional. He's a good guy.
Definitely.
Here we go.
He's funny too, though.
Here goes a message for you, Wilbur. You've got it in you, your team, to bring Speedway USA back to its greatest years again. 80s was truly amazing and so sadly missed. There you go. Someone bigging up Will again.
Don't make my head too big, guys.
Tonight, mate. You're getting loads of love tonight.
Uh-oh.
So let's go on to Vojens. Has got the Danish Grand Prix this year. Obviously, last year didn't happen because of COVID and things like that. But you know, all raring to go for this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are, you know, we're quite organized. I got my second hand there, Helge Frimmer Pedersen, which has been a manager for Nicky Pedersen through the 14 years. And, you know, he's quite a strong person for me to have on the sideline, you know, with sponsors and organizing everything. So, yeah, I think we're pretty strong, and I believe we have one of the best racetracks in the whole world, and also the sponsors which we have at the moment is working good for us. We have Echo Shoes, which is our title sponsor for the Danish Grand Prix. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on, but of course this future thing and the whole game, you know, we've got to put our footsteps correct at the moment.
You got a question here?
Yeah.
Jacob, what are you? Control the rain.
Control the rain in Vojens.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's Tom Adams. I love that one. That's what. Well, you know what? This is the typical one about Vojens. You know, it always rains there. But to be honest, you know, fingers crossed and knocking on the table on what I can say. Actually, I hadn't had a wet meeting yet, you know, in Vojens. So hopefully I got a little bit more luck to that side. But yeah, you know, Vojens is prepared for rain. My dad's always been very clever to look at the track preparing and having sort of the draining system working pretty good. So, but and then we're also invested in the track cover, which we can put on the track and take off very fast. So, yeah, you know what, Tom, this is a good question, and we can't manage the rain. You know, sometimes I believe I have a good contact, but you know, it's at the end of the day, the boys just got to be on fire and race. You know, if it's wet, dry, or whatever, it's always the best winning anyway.
Do you believe, I mean, looking at like riders like Bartow Smartzik, for example, right? Me and my dad have had so many conversations about this. I'm going to bring it up again now. I mean, him riding at Gorzov since, I don't know, he was probably 7 years old. You know, first time he sat on a speedway was probably at Gorzov, you know? And he's raced so many times and does so many laps. Are you trying to give the same to your riders, that you want them to learn every single edge of your track or every single centimeter of your track? To make sure that if they get into a situation where they go like, oh, I'm going a little bit wide here, but I remember what I did last week at practice, so I'm just going to cut back here or do whatever. Do you want to give the same to your riders?
Well, I have a strong believing that you work hard, and then you get the success. And this is even on track and off track. And I don't know Smartzik that much. I've said hi to him and chatted to him a couple of times, but when I sort of look at him and analyze what he's doing, he of course has a lot of advantages because he's so small and he doesn't weigh a lot, and his machinery is working good. He's fast, and he's pretty smart kid, on the track, and knows the race lines and all this, and then he's not afraid to be on the gas. But I would say that hard training all the time is the way through. I mean, I remember Thomas Gollop, he was always practicing all the time, and this is what we have to do. And in Vojens now we've had about 18 practices already this season. So
Wow,
we're pushing hard. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Cool. Here we go. Let's go back to the photos. So we've got the Series 500 in Australia. You went out to Australia and rode in that. We've heard from lots of different riders from that era. It was a crazy time. Did you?
Yeah, we don't talk about that today,
keep out of trouble? Well, we heard from Joe Screens.
Well,
had a few stories about getting. There's lots of stories with Mark Laram about getting arrested for having something on his bumper sticker or something, and there was crazy stories.
Yeah, you know what? I was quite lucky because I was invited by David Tapp to the first year of the series. I think it was '95, and there you go. We got some good shots there, and and there's my big superstar Wiggy.
Oh, looky there.
Yeah. So there you go, all in black. Yeah, looking fast. Yeah. But this was I think that this was probably one of the best times for me ever in my life. We had so much fun in Australia at that time, and it was actually, we were traveling together, all the riders, I think it was a couple of weeks before we sort of split up, and we started in Perth, I think, and we moved down through Australia, and it was a crazy time. We had really good relationships, everyone, and was hanging out and having fun, but also very professional. It was a good series, and it was all on TV, and that was pretty good. There you go, SodaStream and everything on there.
Do you think this should happen again? Do you reckon more trips like this where all the boys, all the Grand Prix riders right now, they're very individual, they're all got their own teams, and they're just, I like the idea of this where all the boys just chuck a load of bikes in a van and, travel together. It's sort of how it was in the early 2000s for me anyway. I remember sometimes we'd have 3 riders in one van, travel 6-7 hours across the UK to go and do stuff. And they're the times I miss from racing Speedway.
Yeah, I'm a little bit double with it, because I think it's very good to respect each other, and it's very good to have sort of a good relationship to each other. And I think it's good to chat away, and it's good to be friends. But I also believe that the game needs to have a little bit of a there's got to be some hard balance between friends and want to win all the time. And I mean, if you look at football, if you see Manchester United and Liverpool playing to each other, when you have a corner, you don't see them chatting away, do you? I mean, they all want to win all the time. So at times, I think the Speedway sport has been maybe a little bit too friendly, some of the riders. We need to build up the stories a little bit and have a little bit more of action.
Get more characters like Nicky.
Yeah, I mean, Nicky, for me, I know Nicky the good ways and the bad ways, and at times he's been tough to work with, but he has sold a lot of tickets in Denmark, and I know Nicky's been a pain in the ass at times too, but at the end of the day, he's a very, very good person, and he's done a lot for Danish Speedway, and I'm still very close to him. He was at Vojens to practice today. He's very good, but we all know that there's got to be characters. There got to be good boys and there's got to be bad boys, and they got to push. They got to shout at each other. That's what people want to watch.
You got to do what you got to do to sell your tickets, though.
Exactly. I mean, you look at ice hockey, if they weren't fighting in between the icings, who would go and watch ice hockey?
Yeah. Yeah, we had him on the show before, and he said, anyone that knows me properly, they know that I'm a decent guy. He's not there to hurt other people or anything. He said I'll ride hard, but he's not a horrible person, if that makes sense.
If you look back in the time, it's we had Gollop, when he was quite young and he was pushing himself through. He knocked a couple of riders off, but he was just, he was in for winning. And to be honest, if we look at Nicky compared to your dad, well, but Greg is sort of maybe a lot bigger talent on a bike than Nicky was, so he maybe had to use his elbows a little bit more to get through.
That's true. Very true. So I see that you worked alongside Peter for a little bit as well.
Yeah, this was a great time I had with Peter. Still very close to him. He's a good man. The story about this was that I was partner in the bicycle shop Design Cykler with Finn Jensen, which you probably know also, and your dad and I had a sign up there at the Danish Grand Prix. But yeah, I had a couple of years where I worked with Peter, and tried to sort him out a little bit in his head, and got side by side with him, and it was a great time. I felt good about it because the connection was very good between him and I. When I said jump, he asked how high, and he did things right, and he was pushing and won the Danish Grand Prix in Parken, home track, and then the year after he was in the Grand Prix series, and he actually won the opening meeting in Koško in Slovenia, and he was leading the World Championship. I mean, who thought about that happening? But he's a good guy. He's a racer, and for me, one of the best exciting riders to watch.
For sure, yeah. Do you think we'll see him in the top flight again?
Well, you know what? You never have to write anyone off. I think he can still do it. He has maybe topped in his career, to be honest. But you know what? He's quite motivated. I know he's been working over the winter time here with one of his own old personal trainers, and he's been working hard to get back to the same levels. So if he can stay out of injuries, he can push himself to the level where he has to be in the Grand Prix again. That's for sure. I mean, they all can if they do it right.
That's very true. Do you feel like consistency? Yeah. Do you feel like consistency came into play? I mean, like you said, he won a few GP rounds there, and he did outstanding in those rounds. But do you feel like you need to figure out a way to keep that going throughout the whole year? Because I mean, there are some riders in the GP field now where you could be like, you never should rule that guy out for winning a round, but it's hard to put him into a category where he's going to win a world championship.
Yeah, that's true. But I think, that looking back in the past, 3 or 4 years before Ty Wolfenden won the world championship, no one would have thought he would be world champion. But the connection Killerman and I had was, I think I got him to do a lot of things right, and I got him to believe in himself. And then also the whole the whole thing by having someone close to you when you're racing on the race day, that you get your wheels in line and you all the time being told what to do, and you got to make the gearing. When you get to the semi-final, you take one knock off on the sprocket, and when you get to the final, you maybe take one more or two off because you got nothing to lose. And if you start reading and you got the connection, suddenly you believe you can do it. And I think, and I believe that if you want to have success in sport or whatever, the connection with the right people, you will get success. So it's like mastermind, if you have two brains in harmony, suddenly you have the third one and you can keep pushing.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, he's a good guy. I was saying before, when I went to Hans's wedding, I hypnotized him. He forgot his name. He couldn't remove his hand from his head, his feet from the floor. Yeah, he's a funny dude.
I feel like probably everyone was laughing their ass off during that.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Jacob, do you think you ever go back to your modeling days?
To the modeling days? Whoa, there you go. Look at that one. I mean, look at that front cover there. That's the Swedish type. Well, that's Henrik Gustafsson style.
Really?
Yeah. And I can tell you a little funny story about this one, because actually this is the toba frame, which is made in Sweden, in Vetlanda, which was good old Life that had the company there. And these bikes are built up together with Eric and my dad did them together. So they did these frames toba for ACCC. There wasn't like a chassis for ACCC, so that was built up, and it was same colors as the bike Eric had. So yeah, I mean, I was on fire. We have a same colors as Eric Gunnarsson on the ACCC. How good could it be?
I actually want to touch topic on the ADCCs. During my, I guess you can say, ADCC career, I rode a little bit of both. I rode a lot more of the 4-strokes than I did the 2-strokes. What is your opinion on both of those? Do you feel like the 4-strokes are going to come and maybe put the 2-strokes out of play? Do you feel like, I mean, of course, you grew up on them, and Denmark has been dominant with their ADCC racing compared to Sweden. When they have their when they race against the Swedish team, they've destroyed them most of the times. And racing them myself, they're really, really, really different from any other speeder bike you're ever going to ride, in my opinion. It's just, I think the fact of the competitiveness and the speed that you're going to get, I feel like that comes more into play than handling the bike. But again, what do you think?
Well, I think the ATCC has always been good in Denmark, but then you also have to look into that there's a lot of tracks which fit the ATCC bikes, and this has sort of been it's been working good for many years. But now the 250s coming into the game, I think the 250s run okay, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the 250s. I think it's they work on a funny way, but I think the competition is not so cool, because if you're a tall guy and you're 10 kilos more than the other one, it's very, very easy to see that you can't follow the small guys. I believe that as soon as you can climb onto the 500 cc's and sort of have experience quite early and sort of get into the practice and start learning them to ride, I think this is the best way. I mean, your mate Jesper Knudsen had the whole last year where he just had practice on 500 cc. And that I can so easily see on his style and the way he's working on the bike today, it's really moved him.
Exactly. And I think just time and laps, starts after starts is what you're going to get to where you're going to go. like you just said with the weight that came into play on the 250s, if you are a bigger kid, you're going to struggle, especially on the big tracks that they ride them on. I mean, they had the 250 World Championships on Prague. Prague is a massive track for the 500s. Then they ran 250s. I don't know how many engines were blown that weekend, but there was a lot of them, you know. But I raced the 250s here for 2 years, and then I moved up. I should actually be in the 250s for another season, but the 2019 season, I was kind of more of a learning year. At the end of the year, I ended up winning a national championship. But I feel like going into the next season, weight came more into play. I was racing against guys that were, I would say I'm at 150 pounds, and they would be racing at like 95 pounds. So, I mean, you get a big difference in the weight there. And I mean, what's that
in kilos? Sorry.
I think here, let me look it up right fast. I think
you're half Swedish, mate. So you got to start talking kilos,
dude. So 150 kilos or 150 pounds is about 68 kilos, and 95 pounds is about 43 kilos.
Okay.
So I mean, it's about a
leg that weighs more than 43 kilos.
but sorry to interrupt you on that one, but that I think you're spot on, dude. You're doing the right thing.
This is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, the tracks here are so much smaller too, so I mean, you could get away with it a lot easier. But I was just saying, coming into factor, it was like I would have to work a little bit harder, but I feel like I learned so much more. So in a way, it did benefit me. I would have to, use my weight to my advantage, and that's what you have to do on the big bikes. Either way, you got to learn how to work around it. It's the same for everybody, but not really at the same time. So it was a challenge, but I liked the challenge because I could just, I would figure out a way, and sometimes it could come in a factor. If I move my butt back this far back, and the guy would do the same, I would drive and he wouldn't. So that's the difference in that. You just have to figure out ways around it. But I honestly go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. You can see. I mean, if you look at go-karts today, they put weights on. I mean, there's a reason why they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really put weight on a speeder bike. That would just screw up the whole bike, in my opinion. But
yeah, that's true.
It's I can never see myself being able to do the stuff that I did over here in Europe on the bigger tracks. I just feel like it would be too complicated and too hard.
That's why we need you to Vojens, man.
I agree. 2022.
Yeah, there we go.
2022. There we go.
Boom.
Cool.
It's going to be breaking news. Wilbur signs for Vojens Speedway 2022.
It's not going to be breaking. We've got the exclusive. It's right here. Everyone knows it's happening now.
Boom.
It's all down to you.
You need to get a banner. You need to get a banner that just goes across the screen, like just keeps on rolling, like on the news.
Yeah. Exactly. It's actually rolling on Danish TV at the moment.
Oh, really? You see?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Boom. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
It's already made. It's on the news.
Yeah. Well, your dad's a legend in Denmark. He's got a big name, and you're going to be right in there. And this is so great, because I'm so happy that you guys and the Americans are coming forward, because we need the stars and stripes. There's so much history from Penn Hall and all the way up through, and I mean, Sam Emelianenko, Billy Hamill, and your dad, and just name them all the way down. We got to have you guys in the game, and we've got to have you in the World Championships. So we're looking at riders, the stars and stripes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We have, I think, 4 American riders over there this year. Ricky Wells, Dylan Rummel, Brock Nickel, and Luke Becker. 4 names there. I mean, Ricky's been in the go for a while now. But he's
there's more than that, isn't it? There's Dylan. Is Max not over here?
No, Max not over there. But he's going to go over for the GB Challenge. He did win the American final. Which is, I mean, he won the American final at a GMNX. Ashley Holloway built. Quite impressive there. But I feel like them having those 4 riders over there now, Ricky with a little bit more experience than the other guys. And you have Brock that's been really doing great over here, as well as Luke. I just feel like it's only going to get better and uphill from here. I'm really looking forward to see what the future holds for American Speedway. And I mean, for me as well, I'm going over there soon and trying to do as much as I can with Dad now becoming a trainer for Wrocław. I just feel like it's just going to set me up for something better and bigger. And then eventually getting over to England and getting a few laps over there as well.
This is the way to go.
I like the fact that America's now doing team events. I think, that's cool, because they've always been an individual, and I think the individuals are good, but they've also, that the whole team sport thing is, that they got something to cheer about every race. If they're there to watch Wilbur, he's only in every 5th race. So
I tell you a little funny story. When this is back in, I think, 1985, there wasn't even thought about you at that time, Wilbur.
I was 1 years old.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, I was about 12. Yeah, but
my dad. I think my dad was around 15.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Because he's older than I am. You can't tell though, but he is 2 years older, I think, than I am. Yeah.
he is something special, man. He just never stops. Yeah. He's on the go.
But it's funny, I'll tell you this story, because Ole was team manager for Denmark, and the World Team Championship was in LA. And I never forget this story, because there was like, on the Danish squad at that time was Erik Gundersen, Tommy Knudsen, Hans Nielsen, I think Bo Pedersen.
Wow.
And Preben Eriksen, I think. So, but I was like, the young kid all around what's happening. Like, you've been a lot also, but so this is like half an hour or 20 minutes before the presentation. Then we're in the changing room and they're having this team talk. And then someone locks the door so the Danish squad can't come out.
In Long Beach, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Bo Pedersen, he went absolutely nuts. So he took his steel shoe off and he started smacking the door to get out. and Ole was like team manager at this time, and he said, "Hey guys, take it easy. Just sit down and relax. They're just trying to get us wind up, so we're gonna get stressed and we can't focus on the meeting.
They're not gonna run the meeting without you."
Exactly. So that's what he said. Sit down, relax, because they're not going to start without us. And what happened? They opened up, and then they had the big American presentation with this big truck with all girls on, and with all the American riders. And
I thought they came out on like horses. Didn't the American team come out and like?
No, not for this event. No, I think they did that at a World Championship.
Oh yeah, with Bruce Penhall. With Penhall, yeah. You're right.
So, but this was amazing, and they and we did beat the US at the home track. So this
you did not just beat, you demolished every other team. If you look at all the teams, you have Sweden at that time. Sweden had, I think it was like Per Jansson,
Jimmy Nelson. Peter Karlsson was maybe,
It was really just a young team. It was like a team in progress. Looking at those names, I mean, they're like big names, now. But back then, it was like there was the younger team, the underdogs. You had the American team, which had there was no Penhall. Penhall was the manager.
He was a manager and doing TV and everything. I think he was floor manager. So
with John Scott.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And then the American team.
I think Rick Miller, who I think was in the team. Maybe Bobby Schwartz, Dennis Sigales. Maybe Dennis wasn't riding.
Maybe the Moran brothers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With those.
Well, Lance King, I think also.
Science King.
Yeah.
Wasn't this
You get
85?
some,
This is like
85,
20 years
85.
before Wilbur was born.
Yeah, and he can remember.
Wilbur's reciting it way better than it was 20 years before he was born.
You know what? I love me some Speedway. If I put it that way, I love me some Speedway.
This is great.
It's brilliant.
Get it on YouTube.
Yes, they have the full event on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They have? Really?
Yeah. The whole event, like it's quite funny because you listen to the commentators back then, right? The commentators are so like everywhere. They'll be talking about the race before. They'll be talking about something that happened 5 years ago. They'll be talking about the lap time that came 5 heats before this. It's like it's so up and down, and like it's so hard to like focus on it. And you have like an American who's doing the commentating, who's just like a surfer accent, you know. It's just funny. It's really funny to listen to, and you hear, you know, like Nigel and Kate and Kelvin when they do the commentating in the GPs now, they're, you know, so spot on, and they have everything right there in every heat, and I mean, they never go, you know, off track, you know. So
yeah, they're the best without.
Yeah, they're really good at it, and then you have something like that you're listening to, and this is again what, like 30-40 years ago. So you're just thinking about it, and you're like, well, you're listening to it, but then you see the names that ride, and you just. Eric Gunderson said that was the best track he's ever ridden, Long Beach Grand Prix or Long Beach World Team Final.
Yeah. Where have you kept all of these golden helmets? Does your dad still keep them? Or?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
You look a little bit young to have won all of those.
Yeah, and I even got hair on that one also. Yeah.
It looks like you're wearing a helmet.
It's a Speedway.
Yeah, it looks like I've got a gold helmet on. Yeah. Actually, you know, it was Slata Prelba, the golden helmet, absolutely great thing. And Ollie was he's the most winning man on that. He won 7. And he's got them all at home still. I think he gave one away. Yeah, I think he's got the rest of them. But it's this is still good for the sport.
What do you have to do to be given a golden helmet from Ole Olsen?
Well, I think actually he gave it to the national newspaper or something, or there was a meeting, or I can't remember exactly, but I think he gave one away for
when you have like, I don't know, when you have like 9 of them, wait, 1, 2, 3, 7. When you have 7 of them, maybe at that point it's like, you know what? Let's give the one that I don't really care about that much, or something like that. You know, you're like, really?
Yeah. Well, you know who won 4 of them? Can you guess who has won 4 helmets?
Your dad?
Not my dad. My dad's never won a golden helmet, I believe.
No, but Jerry Stansel from the Czech Republic. He won 4. And I think
Doyley's got 3.
Yeah, Doyley's got 3 now.
He's got 3, in a row.
Yeah. In a row too.
In a row, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But you know, there's I think Ivan Major never won one.
Yeah, Greg's still got time. He's got another 20 years before he will retire. Really.
Oh yeah. Do you think he's actually retired now?
Yeah, he's going to come back just to win the golden helmet.
He's got a good poker face.
Yeah.
Well, this year a Dane's going to win it.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this year for the golden helmet. Probably Doyle is going to go for it. You know, I think Doyle might be able to get it.
Yeah, I'm going to put money on Doyle. Doyle actually said that winning the golden helmet was more. It was more like an achievement for him to win the golden helmet than it was to win the world title.
Holy
he
crap.
said that. Yeah. He said,
really?
When I won the world title, obviously he was very pleased with that, but like on a personal thing, he always had in his head he wanted to win a golden helmet. And then he won one, and then he won another one, and then he he said it in a post recently. He's like, I never thought I'd win one of these, let alone win 3 on the bounce.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Here we go.
Quite,
Ole gave a golden helmet away in 2011 at a Danish GP, which was on the day he won his first world championship 40 years before. How badass is that?
Oh, there you go.
it's pretty cool.
Who
That's
won the
pretty
Danish
cool.
GP that year?
Hans Andersen.
2011?
I think so. I think he was a wild card in Parken in Copenhagen.
Oh, it wasn't in Vojens that year?
I'm not sure. I think, but it was given away not to ride. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Wilbur, have you ever
fair.
been? Have you been to part of it?
Yes, I have. I've seen part of it, but I've never ridden it.
Yeah,
I've raced I've raced there in the under 21 World Championship when Joe Screen won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 93.
Of course, Joe Screeny has won one.
Yeah.
No,
that was
he won under
the under 21 World Championship.
Mm.
So, and actually, because I was at that time, you had practice, you had start practice for World Championships, and that was I never forget because I beat Screeny and I beat Michael Karlsson, which is Michael Max today in practice start. But then the day after, I had spaghetti in my arms. So I was just totally nervous. So I thought I only scored 4 points or something like that.
You know what's crazy is that part of it is like, I think one of the gnarliest tracks. You are going so fast around that track, and there's no way to like not win that. It's not like you need to go here, cut back, and this and that. You have to just keep your momentum going because it's so wide that if you make a mistake, you still got about, I don't know, another 20 meters until you hit the fence. So it's like you can use that track to your advantage. And to put the under 21 guys out there for their final, which they still do now, I think is pretty cool because it really shows who really wants it,
That's true.
So
it's a hard one to race. Yeah.
They made a draw between people named Ollie for the helmet, and it was in Vojens.
Is that true?
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think when Frank there, he's writing this, that they made a special thing at that Danish Grand Prix because it was the anniversary that everyone named Ollie got in for free.
You are kidding me.
Yeah.
I would have said my name's Ollie.
Yeah, my name's Ollie.
Imagine
I'd change it officially to win that helmet. Imagine having that like at home, just it's a golden helmet just there. It's cool.
Imagine the people that they're like, you need to bring your birth certificate to get into the event for free.
Yeah. Brilliant. Cool. So you have an exciting year ahead now with Vojens and then obviously the Grand Prix. Do you think you're going to be at full capacity for the Grand Prix, or are restrictions looking like they're going to go that way or not?
Yeah, I believe that the vaccine, is going to make the difference now. When hopefully what we can see in Denmark, the corona is quite under control at the moment. There's been a lot of restrictions. And I think when the vaccine has been given, to people from 50 and over that, I think they start opening up because then there's not the big risk that people would get really ill. And I think we need the economy, we need the whole world to start going and start moving again. So it's been a hell of a time, and I just hope that the world will come together again.
Sure.
I
I was speaking just earlier, and for traveling and things, it's crazy at the moment. But if by that point, it should be more open. Luckily, it's towards the end of the season. It's September 11th. Is that right?
9/11, mate.
Yeah.
9/11. So,
What a
and you know, we're gonna make Speedway great again.
Cool.
I really can't wait for that GP. That one's gonna be really cool. Vojens is such an exciting track.
And you'll be there to sign your contract, won't you, Wilbur?
Oh yeah, I'll be there signing the contract.
Yeah. This is yeah. Of course you will. And the good thing is, you know, it's the second last round, so we can crown the world champion maybe. And you know, I think we're going to be pushing from the Danish side this year. You know, I think Denmark's the next couple of years we're gonna move into the elite and into the top again. So just keep an eye on us.
Do you think
who's the next big thing?
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
Well,
who are the next big things? I should say.
I mean, Leon Madsen's done a great job, you know, and to be honest, he sort of found himself. He's not young. He's been around for a long time, but the last couple of years, he's fast. He's quick in Poland. We got some interesting riders, and I think Anders Thompson, you know, I've worked quite a lot with him here during the winter also, and he's a good kid. He wants to get out there, and if he gets the luck and he gets a good push at the beginning of the season, I think he can make difference. But yeah, we have. I think we have about 3 or 4 riders outside the Grand Prix, which really can push forward the next couple of years.
Someone's just commented here saying you're driving this year in connection with COVID.
Probably like, are you racing this year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we answered that one. Yeah, they are racing this year. But cool. Well, you got anything else to ask?
I'm looking forward to Vojens 2022. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
you know what? I just want to make my head big again, so I'm just going to put this there. Yeah, let that roll for a little bit.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
Taking it all in.
But listen, my friend, I take this serious, and I'm always here. Your old man has always been very good to me. We got on well, and you're a good kid, you know, and I love the sport to see it grow, and we need guys like you. So whenever you need help from Denmark, you know, you got close relationship to the Gunderson family, and you can always be a part of this down here. So yeah, you know what happens. Let's see. But you're more than welcome, and I think we can give you a couple of. Can't give you gold helmets, but we can maybe give you a bit of gold on the way.
He's going to change his name to Ollie. He wants a helmet.
Ollie Hancock.
Ollie Hancock. Yeah. I mean, it's got a nice ring to it. I'm just saying. I'll have to speak to actually speak to Ola about this one.
Yeah, good idea. But listen, you got your father by your side. You know, you can't get anyone else to teach you better. So, but don't listen to him all the time. Do things your own way. Also, promise me that.
I will, for sure. And I'm posting this link in the comments here below for anyone who wants to watch the next few races coming up over here in the US, which is Jacob as well. We have XSRA.tv, Ken McKinney, who does all of our live streams and stuff. He's really just getting started with live stream, and it's going pretty good. All of the riders over here really greatly appreciate that because it gets their name out to teams over in the US or in Europe, and lets other people watch it. And I think we had Darcy Ward watching a couple weeks ago in our last race, and he was quite impressed with. We had a crappy track, but we try to make it work as good as we can. And I think it's everyone around the American scene right now. We just actually got the clear to have fans back in the grandstands to watch, both at the track in Bakersfield and in what's it called, in Paris. And that's, I feel like it's just all going to go uphill from here.
Hope so.
That's good.
And then for 2022, Wilbur will be in Vojens.
One last time with the banner.
Yeah.
There you go. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. We'll make you a superstar, man.
Thanks a bunch.
Wicked.
Awesome.
It's been great having you on the show. And
Well,
if you
thank
stay,
you. Big pleasure. Yeah, sorry.
If you stay on the show, we'll just knock you off, and then we'll just have a quick chat with everyone, and then me and Will will speak to you afterwards.
That's cool. Thanks. Take care.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
thanks
good
for
one.
coming on.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Wow, that was really cool. It's insightful.
Very.
Yeah. So next week's show, I can't announce who it's supposed to be. So there is an embargo on some big news, which is going to come out hopefully next week, and we'll have an exclusive on the show, which is quite cool. So next week's show isn't announced just yet, and it probably won't be announced till the very, very last minute, because the news is either going to come out Wednesday morning or just after. But we will have an exclusive on the Speedway Chat Show for the big news of next week.
For sure.
So
Awesome.
Just before we go, I just want to say a massive thanks to all of the guys that have helped us out with the bike build, or Ian Jordan from SP2A Speedway. It's been much appreciated, and we will see you next week.
Awesome. Make sure to tune into the Speedway Chat Show podcast. We're trying to grow that. It's major help for us, and I think it's just listening to the car. You can also just say, hey, Alexa, sorry if I just triggered Alexa, but play Speedway Chat Show podcast. I think it just it opens up a new audience for everyone, and you can listen to the car. You can listen when you're making food. And yeah, I think we'll just leave it at that.
Adios, guys.
Peace.
We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Bye.